What if I told you she was already cheating, long before she touched another man? Yeah, I know, that hits like a punch to the chest. But stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'm going to show you the quiet storm that builds before the betrayal. The red flags you missed, not because you're blind, but because you believed in her. You wanted love, not clues. But reality doesn't wait for permission. It simply arrives. Emotional distance, the heart has left the room. Here's the first thing most men don't notice. She stops laughing at your jokes. The texts become shorter. The warmth you once felt turns lukewarm. She still shows up, but her eyes don't. She looks through you. She responds, but she's not really there. It feels like she left the room emotionally, even when she's sitting right next to you. In Stoic philosophy, detachment is a strength. But in a relationship, unexpected detachment is a warning shot. Why? Because women are emotional creatures by design. When she starts checking out emotionally, chances are she's already checking in somewhere else. Not physically, not yet, but her heart, that packed its bags a while ago. And here's what most men get wrong. They think she suddenly pulled away. No, it was gradual, a slow fade, a drift disguised as fatigue. She's just tired. She's just busy. No, brother, she's elsewhere. Her energy has been redirected. When a woman starts rationalizing her own betrayal, she creates space from the very man she once loved. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because the guilt needs room to breathe. The disappearing clock, time doesn't lie. Have you ever asked her how her day was? And she replied with, "It was fine. Nothing more. No detail. No story." And then it starts happening more often. Her schedule becomes a maze. Late meetings that weren't on the calendar. Girls' night with friends you've never heard of. Errands that take 3 hours with no bags in hand. You ask, and she dodges. Suddenly you probe, and she shrinks. Suddenly, time has become her alibi. But as Epictetus once said, impressions are not facts, but they often foreshadow the truth. A woman who cheats rarely lies boldly. She manipulates the space around the lie. I lost track of time. My phone died. I needed some air. These aren't answers. They're redirections. She's not explaining. She's rehearsing. If your gut is whispering something's off, listen. It always knows. The Fort Knox phone, secrets wrapped in silence. Remember when her phone used to sit face up on the table, untouched? Now it's always with her. Locked, face down, silent. You lean in and she pulls it away. You ask who she's texting and she laughs it off. Or worse, she gets angry, defensive, like you just tried to access classified intel. Here's the harsh truth. People who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. In modern psychology, secrecy in relationships often signals emotional dislocation. She may not be physically cheating yet, but emotionally, she's somewhere else. She's guarding something. Maybe it's a message thread. Maybe it's a fantasy. Either way, she doesn't want you to see it. Because if you did, you'd see who she's becoming. Emotional cheating is the gateway drug. And trust me, it doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts with a "hey" from someone who made her feel seen again. Gaslighting, when she turns the mirror on you. Here's the part where you start to question your sanity. Suddenly you're the problem. You're too jealous, too insecure, too controlling. She flips the script so hard you can't tell up from down. Every conversation becomes a courtroom. Every concern turns into an accusation against you. You caught her whispering to someone at midnight? She says you're spying. You ask why she was distant? She says you're suffocating. This isn't love. This is psychological warfare. It's classic projection. She can't sit with her guilt, so she throws it on you like a coat that doesn't fit. And if you wear it long enough, you'll start to believe it belongs to you. The most dangerous part? When you stop trusting your instincts. When you apologize for your gut. When you stop confronting the signs because she's convinced you they don't exist. Overcompensation, when love feels like a performance. Out of nowhere, she becomes perfect. More kisses, more compliments, more gifts. She plans romantic weekends. She posts you on Instagram. She even brings you coffee in bed. But it feels wrong, like it's scripted, like she's rehearsing a version of herself to convince you, and maybe herself, that everything is fine. In guilt psychology, this is called overcompensation. It's when the behavior doesn't match the baseline. It's exaggerated, unnatural, because somewhere inside, she's trying to convince herself she's not a bad person. If I'm being sweet, I can't be betraying him. That's how she justifies it. Not to you, but to herself. But Marcus Aurelius warned us, pleasure often fogs the lens of truth. Just because it feels good doesn't mean it is good. The breakup before the betrayal, the final move. And then she ends it. Sometimes it's clean, most times it's messy. She says, I need space, or picks a fight so ugly you walk away, or drops a line like, I just don't think we're compatible anymore. But here's the twist. She wanted out long before this conversation. She orchestrated your exit so she wouldn't have to carry the guilt of leaving. It's a psychological loophole. If you end it, she gets to play the victim. She wasn't confused. She wasn't scared. She was calculating. She was writing her exit long before you read the final chapter. And as a man of value, your response defines you. Do not beg, do not bargain, do not break, do not hold your ground, let go with grace. Why men miss the signs? You saw the signs, but didn't believe them, right? Let me ask you, what's more dangerous, being lied to or lying to yourself? This part isn't about her, it's about you, about why good men, loyal men, so often become the last to know. And no, it's not because you're weak, it's because you loved her more than you questioned her. Love blinds reason, the hope filter. Love is beautiful, but love, unchecked, can be the greatest illusionist. It covers red flags and soft memories. It hides betrayal behind nostalgia. You remember how she used to look at you, how she made you feel like the only man in the room. So when she starts pulling away, your heart says, this is just a phase. But your heart isn't designed for logic. That's your mind's job. When you love deeply, you filter reality through hope. You downplay the pain. You dismiss the signs. You fight for what you had, even when it's already gone. The fear of being wrong, guilt versus intuition. Most men are taught that suspicion is toxic, that asking questions makes you controlling. So you hold back, you internalize, you give her the benefit of the doubt. But suspicion isn't always paranoia. Sometimes it's intuition in disguise. Let me be clear, trusting your gut isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The problem is when your gut conflicts with your hope, most men choose the story that hurts less. But denial isn't protection, it's preparation for deeper pain. The myth of the obvious villain. Cheaters don't wear capes and horns. They don't always flirt in the open or sneak off at midnight. Sometimes they smile, they kiss you goodnight. They say, I love you, and mean it in that moment. That's why it's so hard to believe they could betray you. But here's the truth. People are layered, and when someone's need for validation outweighs their commitment to truth, they start wearing masks. That's what makes emotional betrayal so devastating. It's not just what they did, it's who did it. Stoic awareness, the power of observation without emotion. Stoicism doesn't ask you to distrust. It asks you to observe, to step back, to detach, not from love, but from illusion. A Stoic man doesn't accuse, he watches, he listens. He pays attention not just to what is said, but to what is left unsaid. Because awareness is clarity, and clarity protects the heart without hardening it. You don't have to become cold, just conscious. Emotional honesty, owning what you ignored. Let's be real. You saw something, you felt something, but you told yourself it wasn't real. This isn't about blaming you, it's about freeing you. You can't heal what you won't admit. You can't grow from what you refuse to face. Emotional maturity means calling yourself out with love, not shame. Yes, she left signs, but maybe, just maybe, you silenced them because facing the truth meant facing the end. And that's okay, because what matters now isn't what you missed, it's what you see next. Healing, growth, and the rise of a high-value man. She broke your trust, but what if I told you this betrayal could become the best thing that ever happened to you? Because pain, if you let it, becomes your sharpest teacher. And the version of you waiting on the other side of heartbreak, he doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, he builds. The aftermath when the dust settles. The silence after betrayal is deafening. The nights feel longer. You replay everything. What you said, what she did, the things you wish you had seen. But here's the truth no one wants to say. It's supposed to hurt. Because the pain is proof you cared. It means your heart was real, even if hers wasn't. And now, you have a choice. You can stay in the rubble, or you can rise from it. The rebuild, returning to yourself. You gave her time, energy, loyalty. And now, it's time to give it back to you. Start small, hit the gym, pick up that book, reconnect with your purpose, your craft, your circle. Not to get over her, but to get back to you. When a Stoic loses something outside his control, he doesn't collapse. He realigns. He shifts his energy to where his power lives, within, because the strongest men aren't the ones who avoid betrayal. They're the ones who rise through it. Redefining masculinity, strength through stillness. This isn't about becoming cold or bitter. This is about choosing dignity over desperation. Being a high-value man isn't about being flashy. It's about being still when the world shakes. It's about setting boundaries, not building walls. It's about leading yourself so powerfully that others follow without asking why. You don't need revenge, you need renewal. And the moment you stop trying to prove your worth to someone who never saw it is the moment you reclaim it. Future wisdom, recognizing before reacting. You will meet another woman, and she might remind you of her. But you won't flinch, you won't project, you won't assume, because now you see. You observe. You know the difference between a mystery and a lie. And most importantly, you trust yourself. Stoicism teaches us not to be emotionless, but to be emotionally governed. To feel deeply, but never be ruled by what we feel. The final truth, pain as a portal. Betrayal didn't break you. It revealed you. It uncovered wounds you didn't know you had. It exposed illusions you were clinging to. And now? Now you're standing face to face with the only man who can change everything, you. Let this be your turning point. Let this be the pain that forged your discipline, the heartbreak that clarified your mission, the betrayal that gave birth to your new standards. Because from now on, you don't beg for love, you embody it, you live it. You become the man she never thought you could be, not for revenge, but for redemption. If this video opened your eyes, even a little, don't let it stop here. Comment below, what was the moment you knew something was wrong? Let's turn silent pain into shared wisdom. And if you know a brother who's blind to the signs, send this to him. Because while ignorance can comfort, truth can transform. Stay grounded, stay wise, stay stoic. Like, comment, subscribe, and never forget your worth.